Wake up, YouTube. Welcome to the channel. If you're looking to achieve some financial goals in 2025, I am trying to earn, save, and invest as much money as possible this year and every year. So if that's something that you're also interested in, then please consider subscribing. In today's video, I want to talk about a no spend challenge. And I'm not talking about 1 month, 2 months, no spend spring. No, I'm talking about the entire year of 2025. No spending, no exceptions. Let's go. 2024 was a huge year for me in terms of life milestones and in terms of spending. It was an uncharacteristically expensive year for me as someone who is quite frugal, who enjoys saving, who hates spending money, who often sets sort of no spending goals and tries to achieve a very simple, sort of minimal lifestyle. 2024 was crazy. And there's a few reasons for that. One of which was right at the beginning of 2024, we bought a townhouse. So we upsized from a 1-bedroom apartment to a 3-bedroom townhouse. And just like that, anyone who's done that knows, you feel the tendency to want to fill those rooms, right, with furniture and items and things you've been wanting to display but couldn't because you didn't have the storage space previously or whatever the case is. Buying the townhouse resulted in a number of different expenditures, particularly furniture and home decor and those sorts of things. And then associated with that are the costs that come with home ownership that we weren't paying before, right? So things like property taxes, utility bills, strata fees, that sort of thing. And then because we moved further away, we also had to buy a second car. So we used to live quite close to a SkyTrain and bus services. Now we're a little bit more on the outskirts of town. So we elected to go with 2 vehicles, 2-car household. So we bought a used Mazda in cash, but it was a fairly significant expenditure, 20-ish grand. So costs were associated there. And lastly, the most exciting one is we welcomed our daughter to the world. So if there are any parents out there, you know that having children can be expensive. There's a lot of different carriers and strollers and cribs and the diapers and toys and clothes. There's so many things that you kind of need to buy, even if you try and be as frugal as possible with those purchases. There's a ton of things to buy as a new parent for your new child. So between the townhouse, the car, and the baby, 2024 was crazy. I spent way more than I would have liked. And so 2025 is really the year to get back on track. That's the way that I see it. And so this no spend challenge is my effort to get on track, to get the saving back under control so that we can continue to move towards some of our financial goals, financial abundance, financial freedom, whatever you want to call it, prosperity, if you will. So one way to do that, I assumed, was to set up this challenge, a no-spend challenge for the duration of 2025. And if you're not familiar with the no-spend challenge, people often do this in January, I've seen. A 1-month challenge, maybe a 1-week challenge. December is pretty commonly a big month for expenditures just because of Christmas and people are off, whether maybe you went on a vacation, maybe you spent money on gifts, lots of activities around the holidays. So it's common to see a January no spend. It's common to see a spring no spend. Maybe you're going to do January, February, March. You can do whatever works for you, but I'm going to take it one step further and shoot for a no spend 2025. And people will often, as part of these challenges, sort of lay out boundaries for themselves. They create a set of rules that they hope to follow because even though I said there'd be no exceptions, there will be some exceptions. There's obviously some essentials that you have to buy, that you have to spend some money on, even though you'll try to limit it as much as possible. And so keep in mind that what I choose as my boundaries, as my rules, wouldn't be the same as yours. This is personal finance, after all. It's personal. And so I say that because when I go through my list, I'm not necessarily saying that you should or should not spend money on these things. I'm saying that in my particular situation, These are what I consider to be the essentials, the things that I will allow myself to spend money on in 2025. And then you can fill in the blanks then on what I will not be spending money on in 2025. And I might make a follow-up video which talks specifically about those things. So here's what I've decided is permitted. These are what I consider to be the essential costs that are unavoidable. Unavoidable. Again, that's for me. Housing. All right, so any costs, my mortgage, strata fees, costs related to housing. Secondly, talking food. All right, groceries. Very important. Obviously, these are obvious ones. Within that, we are going to allow ourselves to eat out once a week. So we do Friday after a long work week. It's common for my wife and I to get takeout, order in a pizza, grab some sushi, whatever it is. Fridays, we're going to be permitted to have that one takeout meal per week. On top of that, I do have a monthly subscription, or a weekly subscription, I should say, for a salad delivery company. I work in kind of a food desert where I work. There's nothing really in close proximity to eat for lunch. And obviously you're thinking, well, you should just make your lunch and eat the leftovers. You're right. I probably should do that. But life right now, a little bit hectic with the baby. So we're not cooking as much as we probably should be. So I'm going to permit myself as well to continue to purchase that weekly salad meal prep program because I enjoy those for lunch. Third on the list, personal care. I was mainly thinking about kids' diapers when I thought about personal care, but that goes for things like toothpaste, mouthwash. It's kind of related to groceries, but I thought I'd put that in there just so I'm being extra transparent and extra clear. Fourthly, this one's slightly controversial. Cable, security, internet. I have a package right now with TELUS, so I am going to continue to pay for that. I have a pretty good deal for all three of those things. So I'm not going to get rid of them, even though cable is really expensive, especially when you combine that with streaming services. So I do have some streaming services, Amazon Prime. I'm probably going to still keep that. Netflix, I'm going to keep Netflix. But I did just get rid of Disney, and we don't pay for any others. So trying my best to be realistic, but also cut out things where I can. Next on the list is gifts. So again, we're going to try and be as smart as possible when it comes to gift giving, but we also don't want to come across as cheap or disrespectful in any way. So we're going to allow ourselves gifts for family. My family, big on gift giving for Christmas, for birthdays. I've got a nephew and niece, so I'm thinking about them when I think about. We're going to still have leeway to buy gifts. My wife and I probably will try to limit gifts for one another, which will be simple and smart, I think. But for others, we will permit ourselves to buy some gifts, and we'll just try and cut back on the cost of those gifts as much as we can. 3 items left. Gas for my car to get to work, self-explanatory. Any necessary repairs that come up for the car or the home. So just thinking about car maintenance, taking the winter tires off, putting the winter tires on, doing oil changes and whatnot. Still going to pay for those. And then lastly, haircuts every 6 weeks or so. That's the list. What do you think? Is it doable? Did I miss anything that is essential? Potentially, let me know. Did I miss anything that would be essential for you? I was watching a bunch of these videos, and it's interesting. Obviously, everyone sets their own boundaries. Everyone has what they consider to be essential. I saw one woman say that, I'm a nail biter, so I'm going to allow myself to get a manicure every month, which at first I thought was kind of funny because it doesn't really seem like an essential. But honestly, these aren't, in my opinion, these are not meant to be scrutinized heavily. It's all in the good spirit of trying to save as much money as possible. And so if it works for you, just like a good diet, you want to pick something that's actually realistic, that's sustainable, that you actually might be able to stick to. And so I respected her decision to do that. My list is what it is. I think it's pretty simple. I'm not giving myself too much leeway. You can see there I'm not including trips or much entertainment at all. And part of that is fairly simple because of where we're at in life. We have a young baby. We're not really going on any trips far away. Our family's all local. So given your circumstances, it might be easier or harder to give up certain things. And that's why it's personal to you. So outside of those things that I listed, I'm going to do my best to not try and spend any money. I think it's going to be hard. I might fail, but I do like the idea of at least setting the goal so that when I do go to make purchases, I think twice, right? I think, you know what? Ooh, I started that goal. And I'm hoping that this video helps me stay accountable. And you guys in the comments can help me stay accountable as well. And I'll try and do an update. I don't know how often, but we'll see. And if I fail, I'll be honest about that and I'll let you know. So as someone looking to earn, save, and invest as much as I can, this type of challenge is a great motivator. I think it's difficult, but also somewhat achievable, and it certainly will help eliminate some of those impulsive purchases that I do fall victim to from time to time. So if you're interested in starting a no-buy challenge, that's great. And I'd love to see down in the comments sort of what you're thinking about eliminating or what are your essentials. And if you have big financial goals that you're desperate to achieve and you're looking to improve your professional or financial trajectory, please consider subscribing for more videos like this. We're going to be talking about career, frugality, finance, and I'll see you in the next video.